For nearly the past 2 decades, I've been traveling throughout the U.S. and Canada, photographing the wonderment of nature. To keep this affordable, I do most of my traveling through my vehicle. That means living out of it, sometimes for a couple days, others up to a month or two. This video, I'm just gonna kind of go over how I keep organized, how I travel in my vehicle. Do I sleep in a tent? Do I sleep in the truck? All those kind of little tricks that I do to keep things affordable, because the more money I have, the more traveling I can do to photograph the beauty of nature. Hello and welcome. My name is Cheyne Walls and thank you so much for checking out my channel. I really do appreciate it. I'm currently out here in the amazing national park of Canyonlands. You probably know it from its most iconic landmark. It's called Mesa Arch. I got an epic shot of it this morning and the sun comes up. It lights up the bottom of the arch there. Absolutely beautiful. Now jumping into the content of this video, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a nature photographer who travels throughout the U.S. and Canada photographing these amazing places. Now, I sell my artwork as a living, so I consider myself on an artist budget, which means I have to be a little bit frugal to be able to travel, especially this day and age, how expensive travel's gotten. I have to be pretty frugal with how I travel to be able to travel as much as I can. Now, what I'm going to do this video, I'm just going to explain again how to keep things organized using my 2018 Tacoma TRD Pro. How I use that is pretty much my home away from home. I live out of it, sometimes for months at a time, but this is just how I pack and this is how I go about traveling throughout these national parks to photograph these amazing, iconic places. Now, a big thing that I've learned while traveling a lot out of this truck, it's not so much how you use the space to cram as much stuff into it as possible. It's more the idea of being organized with it, which I'm sure you've heard from a lot of people, but organized in the way that you can pull stuff out, set up camp, break down, and go quickly. And I've found the best way for me is these totes. You can see here, I have a few here. There's some other over at my campsite. They're not the best for squeezing as much as you can into the truck, but they're so nice in the way that everything's organized. Take this one here. This just holds my tent. Yes, there's a lot of extra space, but when you are in a hurry, it's nice. You can throw your tent in there. I don't want to spend 20, 30 minutes rolling up my tent to as small as it can be. You know, the little bags they give you that it feels like it's only the first time. Once you take it out, you're not getting it back in that bag. It just takes time to really put it in. With the tote system here, you can just throw it in, be done, on to the next. It's dirty and everything. You don't have to worry about getting the truck dirty because sometimes I'll sleep in the back of the truck. You can throw it in here, but you can throw a lot of other stuff on it if you're in a hurry to get on the move. You're gonna go capture another sunset or something like that, get to another location for photographing. So that's really nice in a way. And also too, if you get the right totes and you fit them perfectly to whatever size bed you have, and you get the totes in and out so easily. It's so much more efficient this way. Again, you're losing kind of extra storage space, but it makes life so much easier in the long run, putting stuff in, putting stuff out. It just makes things so much easier. You're not gonna forget it. And the system kind of ensures you'll be ready for any kind of camping situation. And with the tote system, it gives us so many options because each one of these is sealed too. You can see here the handle, it locks closed. So if you are in a hurry, again, I always mention being in a hurry because I'm a landscape photographer, so I'll be traveling all around. You always need to get that sunrise or sunset shot or that perfect lighting. So if I need to, you can just park and you're gonna sleep in here. All these totes can come out, they're locked. Animals aren't gonna get into them. I mean, if you're in bear country, that's a whole nother story. But nothing, birds, anything like that, squirrels aren't gonna get into them. So it's a great little system in that way that the totes that have food in them are safe. They go in and out. Again, back to if you need to leave quickly, you just throw everything in, kind of worry about it later, move on to the next. And if your totes are organized enough, you don't really need to do anything with them later because they have their space, they'll use that space. You're ready for the next campsite. I do have a rack system, as you can see, but I kind of try to avoid using it unless it's locked down, screwed down, and solid to the truck. I just don't 100% trust. I want to keep everything in the truck just because I've had stuff stolen off the top of this. If it's just strapped down, you know, come along with a knife, it's gone. So unless I can screw it down, I'll use it in a pinch sometimes, strap something down on the top, but I really prefer with the totes. Everything just goes in the back, comes out easily. And this is just kind of an emergency thing again, unless I need something out of here. With this are my tools, you know, axes, recovery gear, all that kind of stuff, but it is locked, not coming off the rack system here. So we are saving the majority of our money by just being out here and camping and not staying in hotels. But another great way to save a little bit is putting in good money up front for a really good cooler, because then you can save, you're not going to eat out all the time and you can store food for longer. A high-end cooler like this, you can store food depending on the weather 3, 4, maybe even up to 5 days. So again, that makes it a lot cheaper than having to go out every night, and every time you buy a store you can stock up for a couple days at least to store the food. Hygiene. Certain times of the year when it's warmer, you can just swim in a lake or a stream. If you are using soap though, make sure it's a specialty soap made for the environment. Don't just use the stuff that you use in your everyday shower or something like that. That's very important. If you don't have access to a stream or lake, I recommend these Dude Shower Dude Wipes. They're non-fragrant, they have a tiny, tiny bit of soap on them, and they're just these towels you can kind of just clean yourself off if you need to, if you don't have access to other cleaning supplies. And when looking for a campsite that you haven't reserved, always make sure to have cash on hand, because there's still a lot of campsites out there that only take cash. And if you don't have cash, only a credit card, you can't pay or stay at that campsite. Now, it seems like ever since COVID, a lot more people are traveling. The days of just pulling up to any campsite and finding a spot, those days are kind of gone unless you're out in the boondocks somewhere. So obviously do your research. National parks, it's recreation.gov. But keep in mind, for some of those more popular parks, Yosemite, Zion National Park, you might have to book your reservation up to 6 months in advance. But sometimes you might get lucky, because some people do cancel, say the weather's coming in or something like that. I was actually in Yosemite a year or two ago and a huge storm was coming in, and I pulled up without a reservation. Everyone was leaving because of that storm. So you never know. Campgrounds outside the national parks, everyone has their own system, way of doing it. So when you're doing your research, just make sure to look into that. I found a useful app called iOverlander. This will show you most campsites and places you can camp while you're on the road during or before your travels. One of the first lessons I've learned, I learned it the hard way, is to buy, it's more expensive up front, but buy high quality products that'll last decades. When I first got started, I'm sure like a lot of you, I wanted just to get something cheaper, on the cheaper side, just to save money. No, you actually lose money in the long run. Spend, you know, $300-400 on a really good jacket, a North Face, Patagonia, get the good quality gear. I mean, as a photographer, same kind of thing, you know that idea. Get the good stuff. It's so much upfront, but it'll last you so much longer. A lot of my jackets are, again, 10, 15 years old. And they still work great. You know, every once in a while, an update on spray. You can spray them down to re-waterproof them. It saves so much money. And bringing that in, high quality products for a long time last. For my watch viewers, I do a lot of watch videos where I do my tool watches because they're very important to me. I wanted to bring that in because I'm sure a lot of you are watching watching for the watches. Now, so on this trip, I brought both my Rolex Explorer and my Rolex Submariner. Wrist check right now, I'm wearing my Submariner. We got into the teens last night, no problem with the watch. It's been knocked up against a few rocks, it's got some new scratches on it, but it's held firm for an update for you watch fans. And I know it sounds a big jump saying I'm on an artist budget and I'm talking about Rolex watches. It's the same idea with clothes. It's a big, huge purchase up front, but the Rolex watches, they're proven to be tough, and I've beaten the hell out of mine, and they last forever. So big cost up front, but I'll have them for the rest of my life. I'm looking forward to actually not looking forward to it, but I will be passing these down. That's how good they are. Your water supply. Obviously, you're going to need water, and I will admit this is probably my weakest point. I need to figure out a better reusable way to get water, to maintain my water, because this leaves a lot of plastic. But over the years, I've realized I need about a gallon of water a day for drinking, coffee, cooking and cleaning. So depending on how long I'm gonna get out, right now I do kind of get a gallon each one of these crystal geyser for wherever I'm going. If I'm going out for a lot longer time, I bring these water cleaning filter kits. I just happen to have a Sawyer here, and this I can pretty much use in any stream, creek, maybe not a lake, but moving water that can refill if I need water for a long time. I don't want to be carrying all those gallons. So that's how I do it. If you have a better way, because again, the reusable systems I've seen mold and stuff, and I've had that problem myself. So if you know a better way of doing it, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to get a better way and not use as much plastic with me carrying water in and out of locations. For my photography system, I have a little bit different setup. I want to keep those away from stuff going in and out all the time. And I want to make it as safe as possible. So I built this little quote unquote locker system. There's a link up here, somewhere around here of me actually building it. But it's actually connected to the truck. It's bolted to the frame of the truck by removing the seat. But this is just a nice way for me to lock everything up, have everything safe, and it's 99% of the time I'll have my camera gear with me, obviously when I'm hiking. Even if I go into restaurants sometimes, I'll just bring my bag with me just to keep it always on me. But these are for the times, just a little bit more peace of mind, because it's when that's locked and this door is shut. If someone were to break into the truck that had to break the glass, they couldn't open this door, and that is going to be completely safe, which means they can't get to this. But then also too, it's one of those just, again, peace of mind. If I'm camping with someone I don't really know, a friend of a friend of a friend, something, really gets watered down, having a few beers by the fire, knowing this is locked even though my truck's open, no one's going to be able to get in here. And for you who watch my watch videos, same kind of thing, keeping safe, but I want to always have the watch on me usually. But again, after a week, you might want to have your watch off for a little bit, but just a little place that I can lock stuff up. It's just a nice little system. So now everything is safe when it's not on me. If I'm sleeping overnight, I don't want to be sleeping with my camera gear. Everything's locked up here. The bed can remain unlocked if I'm sleeping in it. The cab here can always remain locked. So it's just the safest way I personally think I can do it, traveling around with my camera gear, locking it up in here, and just, once again, extra peace of mind, keep everything as safe as possible. I mean, I'm traveling to places that are probably the safest in the world. We're out in the middle of nowhere a lot of time. You never ever know. And just real quick story, I actually had a friend who was getting gas, and while he was pumping, someone snuck in, opened the door, stole his camera bag that was just sitting on his back seat. So again, with this, whenever I'm not around, if I don't have my camera gear on, well, it's locked anyway. Whenever I don't have my camera gear on me, getting gas, quick coffee or something, this is locked, totally safe. So my little DIY safe, or whatever you want to call it, cabinet in the back is very safe. The only thing it's not really safe from is if someone steals your car or truck. So yes, Toyota, they have great locking systems. This day and age, though, you always got to be careful. And I go for the oldie but the proven, the Club. Great little system. I mean, you can get these things for like 25 bucks on Amazon, unless someone has a heavy duty hacksaw. And even then, they're taking 20-30 minutes to cut through that. And I'll never leave my camera gear, my watch, or anything like that in the truck without me around for that long period of time. So this is just kind of my extra fail safe. I might sound a little bit paranoid, but again, I could tell you stories. DM me or message me below. I'll tell you stories for stuff being stolen everywhere. And so it's just always being an extra safe. You lock the car, that's one safety feature. You have the Club, that's two. It's just a backup of a backup. Another little cheat to keep yourself warm, as you can see my dog here, Bernie's using it right now. Those little warming blankets, pet warming blankets, they're small and they don't take that much energy. You can plug into, either we have the Yeti 400 here, but you can get these little batteries and just put it in your sleeping bag and it'll keep you warm throughout the night. The battery should last that long. You don't have to worry about the propane heaters, putting them in the back of your truck or your car or your tent that gives off CO2. So I'm sure now you're realizing a lot goes into this, and this is just scratching the surface. Therefore, I'm gonna be doing a lot more videos with this kind of content, me traveling, how I travel, and places I'm going. I'm also gonna do a lot more camera review, not so much reviews, but how I use my camera, how I capture these places. And for you watch fans out there, I'll have a lot more on my tool watches and just kind of more content of just travel content. If you did like this video, make sure to subscribe, give us a like. We'll be doing a lot more of this content. And thank you so much again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Cheers.
Want to breathe some new life into your home or office? Why not do it with some fine art nature photography? Through my exclusive fine art photography, I celebrate the beauty and grandeur of nature, but also the solitude and peace that I feel when I'm outdoors. Limited to only 18 prints per image, I use the best possible cameras when capturing that perfect moment in time, allowing for amazing image quality on any scale. Industry-leading printers with top quality materials to create these nature scenes as if you were there witnessing them for yourself. Check out my website for more information on these award-winning photographs.